What's up, world? It's your boy Aaron, also known as Aaron. And I know to some of you people out there probably crying, "You're a 40-year-old man. Why are you picking on so and so?" Yeah, kick rocks, kids. I don't have time for your nonsense. This is something I've been wanting to put out for a while, and I didn't think this would be the right platform to do it at first. I never wanted to belittle somebody. I'm one of those kind of guys. I'll stand my ground. Lots of people who know me will tell you straight up that I'm not afraid of anyone. And that's true, I'm not. You don't mean shit to me. Most of you are just a bunch of chicken shits. Yes, I'm from the hood. I'm from the ghetto. Born and raised in Santa Ana, as we call it. Some of you guys call it Santa Ana, or whatever. Yes, I've been shot at. I've had knives pulled on me. I've been stabbed once. So what? I'm still here. Okay. This one actually, I'm going to be blasting my exes. Blasting those people who actually have been putting men down for years. And I'm really getting tired of a lot of this nonsense because it's not fair. A lot of there's a lot of great men out there that are doing their job. I even argue with some of my friends because I was doing my part and they weren't doing their parts. And yet they were still bashing on me because I didn't have enough money to buy this or buy that. So what? My kids are first. They come first. And yes, I did have to fight the court systems a lot. They are one-sided. They're very narrow-minded. They don't give a shit about dads. They always protect the moms no matter what. And it's disrespectful here in Orange County. So my message is going to go out to all of my kids. I only have three. Two from one woman and one from another. I'm not a whore. I don't bounce around. The first one I was with, I'm going to blast her. Her name is Juana. I won't say the last name, but if this ever gets back to her, she can see it for herself. Now, I know my kids post a lot of videos online. They can find this whenever whatever they're ready or they want to. So my ex, I used to pay her cash at first, which was stupid of me. I was young, in my 20s, trying to figure out how things go, and she kept asking for more and more money. So finally I got a lawyer. I got visitation rights and so forth. And I was able to see my kids half the time. Well, she just started to take away some of my rights by learning how to manipulate the system. And unfortunately, I sided with her. She canceled her cell phone. She moved locations. I reported this to the court. They didn't care. Oh, Miss Bleep. Is this true? Well, Your Honor. So they kind of, I thought, were going to side with me for a moment. But because I was able to find out where she worked, I contacted her company because she called me from there once in a while. And so when I contacted them, I wanted to speak to her only. They considered that harassment. So she used that as leverage, which was so jacked up. Anyways, I ended up paying half my paycheck, which was like $1,500 at the time. Well, actually, it was more than $1,500. Oh, 1,500. No, it was $1,500, but actually, it was more than what I was taking home. So they go by gross tax, which was kind of sad. Here I was in my 20s, paying half my check and barely having enough to survive. I lost everything. Um, I know most of you people don't understand that, but that's quite a bit at the time. And even though lots of things were cheaper, apartments weren't that cheap in Orange County. And they kept telling me, oh, you can easily find a $600 apartment. So I remember asking not mediator, I think it was mediator, something like that, go ahead and please help me out. I was being polite. And she said, screw you, do it yourself. That's not my job. Right to her face, I told her, well, you said there's $600 apartments. Please help me find them. She said, that's not my job. Get lost. So yeah, I became agitated and I became a dick. So I had every right to. I had every right to defend myself. Especially when they're going to put me in a predicament like that. Lo and behold, here I am paying all this child support. And on top of all that, I was still paying for my children whatever else they needed. Trumpet lessons, saxophone lessons, guitar lessons, insurance, medical expenses, vacation, clothing, and so forth. I'll never forget one time she got so hell-bent, she took me to court complaining that the clothing I was giving them back to go to their mom's house wasn't the same clothing that they were coming to my house with. And then she was also complaining that I was feeding them pizza the day before I was taking them back to their mom's house. I'll never forget that judge. There was two of them. I can't think of their names right now, but I have it written down somewhere. Pollock, I think, was one of them, if I'm not mistaken. I'm drawing a blank on the other one. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Anyways, she was very upset with my ex and was like, well, what are you complaining about? You know, well, first of all, she asked me about the clothing. She's like, is this true? I said, well, I'm giving them clean clothes. They're coming to my house with dirty clothes. Why would I send it back home with dirty clothes? She's like, well, can't you wash them on the weekend? I said, unfortunately, Your Honor, my kids aren't at my house all the time, so I like to fill up a basket. And as soon as I fill the basket, then I wash those clothes. And I go, then by the next time they come over to my house again, or 2 times or whatever it is, they will eventually have those clothes again. I don't have an issue with that. And she looked at me, she was like, well, that's actually a good parent. Then she complained again about the food, and the judge looked at her and goes, that's the stupidest complaint. She goes, why don't you complain to me when he's not feeding them, not clothing them, coming home to you disgusting, dirty, scabs, and all kinds of other things? Well, I don't like it, Your Honor. It doesn't matter what you like. There's no issue here. Then she took me back to court again because my kids were complaining that Daddy made them do homework first on Friday nights, and then when I had them on Wednesdays, my kids had to do their homework. Well, that's what a responsible parent's supposed to do, is make sure the kids do their homework first. Get good grades. Become better people. The judge even slapped her down with that one, was like, you're just not making any sense anymore. I see that you keep wanting to come back for more money. Every time Aaron gets a raise, you want another $1 or 2. This is a joke. I'm tapping out. You're not going to get more than this. I totaled everything up and I paid over $250,000 in child support. That's just child support. That's not even paying for the clothing, vacations, all the education they got on the side, the lessons, all that other stuff. That was another probably $250,000, if not more. Now, am I hell-bent on all that? No. I would have spent that money on them anyways, or I would have bought a house. That was the worst part. Excuse me. Then I was no longer working at the company I was with the last year or last few months that I was still paying for my son. They reduced, of course, the child support because there was only one child now. And when I lost that job or wasn't working there anymore, I had already sent her a message, and she agreed to it. And so I went down to the child support office and I showed them. I said, look, this is what's going on. They were like, yeah, we understand you're not working. We sent you the letter. We received a response. You know, what's going on? I go, here, I'm trying to look for a job. I go, but in the meantime, I'm going back to college. I want to do something different with my life. I'm not going to go back the same route. I actually was never happy doing that in the medical field. I was tired of working with idiots. Really tired of working with idiots. And, I mean, granted, there were a few good people, but a lot of them were just complete jackasses. So, when I was there, the lady who called, her name was Valerie, by the way. She called up and had her on speakerphone. I was recording the whole conversation. Of course, my ex was going, well, as soon as Aaron starts working, I want that money. I demand that money. And the lady goes, well, technically we can't give that to you. For all we know, because minimum wages right now are about $11 at that time. I think it was $11.50. She goes, the max we can collect is this amount. I go, but she told her, she goes, even if he works part-time, we still can't even collect that amount. We have to go by whatever he makes. No, I demand this money. So I asked that lady, Valerie, I said, can you please document that? And she said, no, we're not getting involved. I said, don't worry, I recorded the conversation. You can't do that. That's illegal. I said, well, technically your job is to protect us, all of us. And if you're not going to get in the middle of it and not going to actually document what she's saying, then you're taking her side over mine, which means you're sexist. And just because I'm a light-skinned half Hispanic, you're also probably racist. So I'll let you decide. Oh, they called security. Security wanted me to delete the message. I said, no, it's already in the server. You don't have access to it, and you'll never get access to it. Too bad. This is my protection. And besides, I have it listed on the text message, her agreeing to these terms. So I have two accounts to protect myself. And if you're not going to protect me, then who will? I'm on my own, obviously. The sad part is she told my children that I never paid a dime in child support. But yet that girl out there is on her fourth marriage. She's had, I think, what, 5 or 6 kids from different men. 2 from me. And the system still allows this type of stuff to happen. Pretty sad. I've been harassed by her ex-husband, calling me, threatening me, driving to my location. Never once did they ever intervene. The cops basically told me to hide in my house. Hide, by the way. Yeah. Gee, thanks, police. You guys suck in Orange County. You can say whatever you want to, but you're one-sided. And I'm not even worried about it, me posting this video, because you guys used to harass me all the time. And even when I call the cops nowadays for certain situations, you guys don't show up. You don't care if people die. You only protect yourself most of the time. These liberal states, they don't give a shit. So, with that being said, thank God I have everything documented. And to my 2 kids, I love you guys very much, and I paid your mom a lot of money. And if you want to believe her side, you're more than welcome to. I honestly don't care anymore. I did my part. I tried to be a good father to you. I've showed you guys wonderful things. I have messages from my kids, audio from my kids, telling me how great of a father I was back then. You know, unfortunately, sometimes people change and see things a little bit differently, or maybe they get caught up in the wrong situations. The great part about my kids, they both went to college. They're in college. Now, they're probably being indoctrinated with this liberal idea that everyone's against them. Whatever. They're both working. They both know, well, actually, my daughter knows 3 or 4 languages, and my son knows 2. So, did I do wrong? No. I was always there for them. Even the schools knew that. I always push for education first, and the right education. And I've even argued with some of those principals and teachers. I'll never forget one time one of the principals screwed up so bad, and she kept trying to fight me and lock me out from seeing what I needed to see. I had to physically take down my paperwork again to show them that I am the custodial parent. Half. I have every right to see all those records. So she threatened me and brought the sheriff in. The sheriff tossed me out. And I said, you know what? This is a stupid game you're going to play. I'm going to get my friends. So I knew she's the highest member in the school district. I won't release her information. Good friend of mine in the families for years. I gave her a call, talked for a few moments, and she says, okay, I'll take care of it for you. She goes, but did you submit the paperwork to them? I said, 3 times. I gave it to them in faxes, and they said, quit bothering us. I go, then I physically took it down, and the sheriff showed up. She goes, what's that sheriff's name? Gave the information. She goes, all done. All you got to do is drive down there in the next 2 hours, and if they give you any problems whatsoever, you call me immediately. Oh, so funny to see their face. Slam the paperwork down. I said, no, I want you to please pick it up and hand it to me properly. The sheriff was like, sir, you need to. And I said, look, if you want, I can call your boss too. I don't have an issue with this. I go, I tried being nice. You guys repeatedly treat me like crap. I'm a responsible parent who wants to be involved with their child's life. And what you guys are doing is not professional, not ethical. You guys are being dicks. So I'm going to ask you kindly to be respectful and do your job diligently. That was the look of they just ate a big bag of shit. Here you go, mister. If you have any concerns or problems, please contact us. I said, I've done that. Now, from now on, I'm going to call your boss because I tried being nice. I'm no longer going to be nice. You wanted to see the asshole. Guess what? Now that's all you're going to get is the asshole. Moving along. Met my ex-wife. Actually, let me skip her for a moment. I came across another young lady because I didn't trust women for 5 years after her. My ex, I came home and caught her with another man, mother of my first two children. She ended up marrying that guy, like I said, divorced, had another kid. It was insane. But so I didn't trust women for a while. And I met this other young lady. She was sweet. She wanted to get to know me first before we started to get serious. I said, I can live with that. A few months go by, still no hanky-panky, none of that stuff. And I was being a kind gentleman. I don't know how much longer time went by, and one day she gave me a call and says, I'm pregnant. I said, wow, it's not mine. Darlene was her name, if I'm not mistaken. And I said, not mine. She goes, no, I know it's not. I said, you know what? Kick rocks. I tried being nice. This is exactly what I went through with the last relationship. I'm not looking for this. I want something serious. So she had the child. A year went by or so. I think I was still single. No, actually that's when I met my ex-wife. And then she tried talking to me again, getting back into my life, and I said, I don't want anything to do with you. She said, look, I made a mistake. The guy's crazy, blah, blah, blah. I said, you chose that guy. That's what you wanted. Not me. I wanted to be with you. And you wanted to play the game. There you go. Go have that game. And then I said, you know what? Actually, I've given you things in the past. You stole my sweater. You've taken things from me. I go, I would like my money back. So she goes, you know, I can do that for you. So she came to my house and dropped off $100. So then I get married. The woman I was dating for a while, finally got married. And our idea was to get married, wait till I was done paying child support, and then we're going to move out of state. Years go by. She decides to change her mind. My parents need me. I need to stay. Her parents didn't want to stay. They were trying to sell their house because they realized Orange County, Santa Ana's turned into a shithole. These liberals are destroying this country. So they wanted to move out. Or destroy the state, sorry, I should say. And the country now. So they wanted to move out. But they were stuck now too because their daughter felt like she still couldn't let go of that nipple. And I got upset with her too because every time I talked to her, she wouldn't listen to a word I said. So for example, like if I told her, I said, hey, you know what, take your umbrella with you tomorrow, it's going to rain. Yeah, whatever. And she would just continuously interrupt all my conversations and act as if whatever she was saying was more important than the conversation we were having at hand. So then hours would go by or a day would go by, whatever, and then she would tell me, guess what my dad said? He's going to rain tomorrow. You know, I got to get my umbrella. Like, I already told you that. No, you didn't. My dad did. Like, no, we just had this conversation. So then I started recording conversations that I had with her. And I started to play them back in front of her after she told me the same nonsense her dad would tell her. I said, see, I already told you this. And see how every time I talk, you interrupt me as if your conversation is way more important than what I have to say. Oh, she got hell-bent. So hell-bent. I said, why are we married if you're never going to listen to me? Well, I'm not your husband. Your dad's still your husband. The worst part about it is she started to fight with my older kids. She couldn't be an adult. And on top of that, she stole some of their things, like a child would do. And that's why I can't be with people like that. I find it very gross, very disrespectful. I've even filed a police report on some of the things she's stolen, and she's just in such denial, and it's sad. She's living with her parents now. Yeah, go figure. Can't afford to take care of herself. But the real reason why we started to fall apart was because she started to follow her ex-boyfriend from high school on Instagram. Right then I knew something was wrong. Why would you look for your ex? Why start following him? So I decided to follow or find one of my exes. That was a big mistake because that went downhill real fast too. Now on to the third one or fourth one. My ex-wife's name is Romina, by the way. Not that it matters. So I got back into the life of a young lady by the name of Rosa. We used to call her Rosie. My nickname for her was Rosie Palm and her 5 sisters. That was funny. Anyways, so I meet Rosie. She's still married. Then starts to go through a divorce because he gets jealous that she's talking to me. And then we try to work things out. They get their divorce or start working on the divorce. And little by little, conversation started to open up. That started to open my mind about who she truly was. And it really got under my skin. She cared not about relationships. She wanted to control me, but she also wanted money. She was greedy. And every time we'd go out, she'd basically document however much money she spent on me, which was stupid because I was also paying half for whatever we went out and did things. I would buy the kids stuff or her things. I never nickel and dimed anything. I gave her kids my bike, my kid's bike actually, and I bought her clothes and a few other things. One day she called me, she was upset because she said I wasn't spending enough time with her, but I started to do research on her. She finally told me one day that, actually she didn't tell me, she was talking to her kids as I heard the conversation. Remember when I was with Daddy and we had that one friend that we used to go see all the time, that one guy who had this kid, and we'd be friends with him, but Daddy didn't like us to hang out with him because Daddy thought I was cheating on him. Remember, guys? That's quite interesting. Story sounds a little familiar. And then I started to question myself. Wait a minute. We kind of did the same thing. So then I started to find some of these people. I started going through her account on Facebook and a few other things. I even questioned her too. She asked me to request her on Facebook, but I couldn't. It wouldn't allow me to request her. And her ex-husband is a very controlling freak. So I'm thinking he probably went in there and blocked me or something like that. Did something, disabled it so I could not request her. So I went to her house, her place, and showed her, and I said, look, can you request me? She goes, why? I go, you're telling me to request you. Why don't you request me instead? And then, like I said, I started putting more and more together. So I started going through her profile. I was able to look at it through a back door. And I realized one of my family members is friends with her. Okay, that's cool. Then I started going through some other members that she had on there. I started to ask questions to certain people. None of them wanted to talk, but they went right to her. Then I questioned my family member. I was right. She's been having an affair behind her husband's back for a long time. She's not as innocent as she says she is. She also destroys people's lives, which was sad. And she expects people to be there for her because she cries about it. She called me one day, and unfortunately I was drinking. Here's the funny part. She's a manager. She owned her own company. She has these degrees. Again, degrees don't mean anything to me. And bragged about her business, how she's making $25,000 a month. So I went down there when we first started talking. I visited her, and I looked at some of the riffraff that she had hired working for her, and I knew something was wrong. So I questioned her about her staff, and she says, oh, they're great people. I've known them for years. I go, you think you know them. But I know for a fact you don't know them. So one day they got upset, one of them did. I think his name was Jimmy. He took her into her office, and he was pissed that I was there. And he says, you're our lady. Right then and there I knew there was something wrong. her ex-husband and all of them had her under their finger, or at least they thought, because they knew she was screwing around a lot. So they tried to keep her in control. Long story short, they were kind of wondering why I wasn't afraid of them or intimidated. So then finally Jimmy tells me, he says, look, a thug knows a thug. I said, yeah. He says, how come you're not intimidated by us? I said, why should I be? What can you do to me that other people have tried before in the past and failed? What, are you going to break my nose too? You're going to shoot at me? You're going to pull a knife on me? Wow. What else you got? Because if that's it, bro, I'm shaking right now. So then he tried to tell me about his hood credit and this and that. I'm like, you know, that's the first thing I don't do is walk around and talk about my hood credit. Even though I started this message off by telling you, yeah, I'm from the hood. But I don't talk about the credit. But it doesn't matter. It's how you survive. And no, I didn't run all the time. Sometimes you have to run. And sometimes you have to stand up and just either take the hits or start swinging back. So one day she calls me, like I said, and I was intoxicated. She's crying to me because the tow truck's on fire. It caught the camper trailer on fire next to it. Me, logically thinking, already knew something was wrong. She wanted me to comfort her, drive down there 30 plus miles, intoxicated, just to hold her while the sheriff's department was doing their investigation. Yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. A stupid person would drive down there and get arrested for a DUI or DWI, whatever you want to call it. For all I knew, she was trying to set me up. I'm not stupid. So then later on, the sheriff tells her, hey, by the way, the guy who lit this truck on fire, yeah, his license has been expired for a while. Who manages this place? Well, I do. Wow, red flag number 2. So then I didn't talk to her about it, but I kept thinking about it. You manage this company, you've known these guys for so many years, you say you know them, but in reality you don't know shit. These people run your life, and you walk around thinking you're protected. You're not. And if she lies and says that I didn't say this, I didn't say that, all my conversations with everybody, just to let you guys know, I record everything. All my text messages I keep. Every time I have an encounter with people with some that I don't trust, I record everything, word for word. Ex-bosses, ex-employees. I don't trust a lot of people. When you start raising red flags to me, you lose all my trust. So now I have to protect myself. And I know some people are going to say, it's illegal, you should not do that. No, it's only illegal to use in a courtroom. It's never illegal to record you. You're out in public. There's no law that protects you out in public. So then one day, she works for this new company. She asked me about this guy named Jim who she's working for, who runs this electrical company. And says, hey, I want to hire you to work for me and this and that. This is kind of when we kind of fell off. Because I knew something was fishy. She had a guy living with her and another guy living with her. And I said, yeah, you can't be trusted anymore. So then I tell her, I go, I don't trust Jim. I know more about Jim than you do. All right. Well, should I quit? I go, you do what the fuck you want. So then Jim calls me and tries to threaten me the next day. And thank God I recorded the conversation. But basically telling me that I'm an asshole for telling her or sending her a text message that he received a copy of, which he didn't. That I said he was madly in love with her and this and that. Well, Jim, you're full of shit, because yes, you do. You have a crush on her, and lots of people know this. Some people have combed through your messages on how you are being friendly to her because you want to get with her. You've also made sexual advancements on her. You've also talked about how gorgeous her legs are. You've done a lot of stupid things. You can deny it all you want, but I have the proof. You can't fight me anywhere, not on the streets or not even in court. So then when he calls me threatening me, I was like, whatever, bro, I don't have time for your bullshit. I clicked on him. The reason why I told her I knew something was wrong was because he had contacted me a week or 2 weeks prior, talking about trying to hire me. I already knew he was full of shit. I can easily read through people's bullshit. So, and here's the funny thing. When you work around with a lot of bullshitters, the bullshit's so thick, you can easily see it in the next person. It just gets easier. It's like doing your job. Once you get past 4 years or 5 years doing the same thing and over again, you pick up on things super fast. It's like a race car driver. They can see every minor detail in a split or a microsecond. It's the same shit. So he calls me and talks about the work and this and that, and then mentions to me that he doesn't trust hiring her because he doesn't believe she's capable of doing the job. She has no experience, blah, blah, blah. I was the one that put the good word in for her. And then he made a sexual comment about her, about being too pretty for the office. It might not be, her beauty's probably better than her brains. Yeah, Jim. I heard about some other relationships you had in the past. I know why you're divorced. Your ex-wife doesn't have to tell me. And for him to say that stuff, I even was trying to educate Rosie. But she claims she's so smart she can get right past it. Here's the funny thing. She's been trying to apply for these jobs, and she's wondering why she's getting turned down. I know why, but she's in denial. Now, I know she's going to tell you I'm lashing out because I'm upset with her, because she dumped me and all these other things. No. She didn't dump me. We went our separate ways. And yes, I did cry to try to get her back because I tried to figure things out, but after I started to realize what was going on, I realized it's not worth chasing someone who doesn't want to really be taken. She's like most of the women out there. They like the attention. They're attention whores. And when they stop getting the attention, they try to find it somewhere else. And that's the sad part with a lot of women out there. You find something good and you fuck it up. You have someone who stays home and is willing to be there for you, but you're mad because they won't go out and do all these wonderful things with you. Well, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. Us men are logical creatures. We look at, okay, $40 of liquor I can buy for home. We can get smashed, watch movies, turn the radio on full blast. I'll even put the disco ball up, make it cool like it's a dance floor. But no, you want to buy a $300 bottle of alcohol. That's the same fucking bottle we just bought at the grocery store. You want me to spend 20 bucks to get in a club when you can get in for free. You're not thinking. Most of you women have your head so far up your ass, you don't even know which direction is north or south. You're too stupid. And that was the other thing, is Rosie kept burning through her money like it was going out of style. Then she was complaining she wasn't making enough money from her ex-husband. And that was the one thing that pissed me off the most is, I lost my house, I lost this. Yeah, but you weren't really working. Your husband was making $100,000 a year. You weren't. You were making a minimum wage. He was paying most of the bills. And then you said, oh, I made him what he is. To work at UPS? It's not that hard. You first start off by emptying the fucking trailers. And because he has military experience, military by the way, they move him up faster. It's like they, here you go. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not that difficult to do that. The sad part is a lot of you women, you take good guys for granted. And you treat them like shit. Because you want something better. And again, if she lies and tells you guys, oh, This is what really happened. I have the video clippings. Yeah, so do I. I have the text messages from her and the audio recordings. I have it all. She wanted me to give her money back for something that she bought me. So I told her, look, I've never charged you a dime for anything. I did it out of the kindness of my heart. I don't look at relationships for a financial status. I believe every relationship should be 50-50 all the way down the line. And if you women can't meet the man halfway, then get lost. We don't need you to drag us down. We don't need more children. We already have enough, most of us. Paying child support, alimony, whatever else we got to pay for, we don't need drama. We've already had that. High school's over. When are you going to start growing up and being adults? And just because you ran a business doesn't mean you're knowledgeable enough to understand what's going on. That was the other funny thing about Rosie. Is I had to educate her a lot of times. She would still call me and, well, I was reading this on Google. I'm like, don't Google shit. Google doesn't know a fucking thing. You need to read, understand, read the books, buy the books, learn what a federal law, state law is, and what your employee handbook, the differences are. I can write Miranda's all I want. I can write protocols all I want. It can never override a federal or state law. It doesn't. If you risk the people's lives because this is the way you want it, it doesn't float. You can make the employees you have wear a pink uniform all you want. That doesn't matter. But there are other things that need to follow the law. Yeah, some of these laws are fucked up. They need to be tweaked a little bit or put back in their proper place. But to you ladies out there who I came across and, you know, maybe I made some difference in your life. Well, I'm glad that you probably woke up a little bit. And don't believe half these women when they tell you the guy is a bad guy and a jerk and all that stuff. Most of them are full of shit. It's because they didn't please their husband. They didn't do what he was looking for. And I know there's tons of guys out there who meet a woman and they say, yes, this is what I'm looking for. And then 5 minutes later, they change their mind. I don't go by my feelings 24/7. I go by what I know. And if I know you're going to screw me over, I'm going to be ahead of you. I'm always going to investigate. Why? Because you showed me you can't be trusted. If this message helps any of you, good. I'm glad. My name is Aaron, also known as Aaron. To my kids out there, to my 3 kids, I love you all. To my son, Daddy never asked for a paternity test or a DNA test. That was the court. Go down there and read the paperwork. I've been telling you for the longest time. To my daughter, to my oldest, I've always loved you. I've told you that. And it doesn't matter if you're bisexual or whatever. I already told you to your face and it's on the text messages. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. I can't make you find happiness. You have to find it. And to my little one, I know you have a long way to grow up, but Daddy's going to be here all the time. My phone will always be on. And to those bitches who blocked me, good. I was never going to text you anyways. I'm not going to chase douchebags and dogs. I don't fall for scams and jokes. And if you girls did find someone who's dumb enough to fucking be your douchebag, just remember what you put out there is what comes back to bite you in the ass. Oh, this is going to be a fun year. It's only going to get better. Late.